eccoci qua. Buonasera, benvenuti a una nuova puntata di Dopo il TG, soprattutto una puntata con cui si inizia un'altra fantastica settimana. E subito, veloci, salutiamo Mario Ciampini, eccolo qua, che dice: buonasera Luca, al tuo gradito ospite, tutti gli amici. Il mio gradito ospite, che arriverà tra un po', perché c'è un problema di fondo. Il mio gradito ospite è in una nazione in cui il fuso orario è indietro di un'ora, quindi tutto quello che noi abbiamo passato un'ora fa, lui lo sta passando adesso, del tipo arrivare a casa, mangiare, eccetera. Ah, un attimo, scusate, questa è mia, che mi ha messo, grazie. Allora, dicevo, è una cosa molto importante, questa è una puntata importante, perché Andrew Jenkinson è sì il più importante giornalista, quindi il mio collega più importante che c'è nel settore in Europa, ma è anche una persona molto importante, non solo per quello, ma anche perché scrive libri sulla storia del settore e non ne ha scritto uno o due, ma ne ha scritti tantissimi, e questo è ancora più bello, perché in pratica in questa maniera lui ci permette di conoscere aneddoti, situazioni che altrimenti non conosceremmo. E devo dire che dobbiamo tutti noi moltissimo ad Andrew Jenkinson, per esempio. Chi c'è? Adriano Albertini. Ciao Adriano, ben arrivato. Dicevo che è importante perché ci sono degli aneddoti di cui non si sa, di cui si ignora perfino l'esistenza. Io sto leggendo il suo libro, ad esempio, sulla storia della Caravans International, ma molti quando comprano adesso un camper della C, cioè della Caravans International, non sanno neanche di che cosa stanno parlando, non sanno neanche da dove arriva, non sanno nulla, niente di niente. Ignorano persino che il gruppo Caravans International, alle sue origini, è stato il più grosso, il più importante gruppo al mondo. Aveva fabbriche in Sudafrica, in Nuova Zelanda, in Australia, addirittura in Rhodesia. Pensate un po'. E adesso vuol dire una cosa: c'è Malagoli, eccolo qua, ciao, e Lorita Puccetti che dice: siamo Marco e Mia, ti salutiamo, che bello vederti in video. Un grosso bacione alle due persone, due delle tre persone più importanti che ho nella mia vita, perché la terza è il loro cuginetto Samuele, ma è appena nato, per cui poverino, lui è ancora nella fase oddio cosa mi è successo. Invece Marco e Mia no, loro sono già grandi, uno a 3 anni, l'altro a 5, quindi li saluto veramente di cuore. E tra l'altro mi hanno anche aiutato, e li ringrazio, ad allestire lo studio per questa puntata. E dicevo, è molto importante conoscere la storia, cioè ci sono dei momenti che veramente sono fondanti. Faccio un esempio: avete mai immaginato una fabbrica che produce caravan e che compra una fuoriserie come una Jensen Interceptor, quindi praticamente parliamo di una delle fuoriserie più importanti, più veloci che esistevano all'epoca, per provarle su una pista di collaudo che è identica a quelle su cui si provano le automobili e i fuoristrada di serie. Perché questo faceva la Caravans International, per esempio, no? Che è una cosa, se ci pensate, che ha dell'incredibile, è veramente qualcosa di notevole, ed è qui che bisogna partire, è da questo che bisogna partire. Bisogna partire dal fatto che quando si sceglie un prodotto, bisogna sapere anche di cosa sta scegliendo. Cioè, lo sappiamo che ogni volta che noi guardiamo i letti a castello, in un camper o una caravan, ma voi lo sapete chi sono stati i primi al mondo a pensare ai letti? Perché una volta no, si usavano le brande, e uno montava la branda e poi smontava la branda, ma chi è stato il primo a pensare, a ipotizzare i letti a castello e a metterli in produzione? Un costruttore italiano, la Laverda, che sui suoi camper e sulle sue caravan utilizzava questo tipo di soluzione. Questo per dire che questo settore arriva da lontano e se vogliamo andare lontano dobbiamo saperle queste cose, perché son cose veramente importanti. Adesso in attesa che arrivi, io vi racconto qualche aneddoto perché secondo me è giusto anche che si sappiano certe cose, no, quando dico qualche aneddoto di quelli pesanti, di quelli che uno dice: "Caspita, ma come può essere una cosa del genere?" Eppure una cosa del genere è, perché, ricordiamocelo che adesso, secondo qualcuno di noi, ad esempio, il settore è fatto dai gruppi, i grandi gruppi tedeschi, quelli francesi, eccetera. Ma ricordiamoci bene che prima di loro c'è stato qualcun altro e quelli sì che erano gruppi. Adesso senza voler sminuire nessuno, ma qualcuno che ha con basi operative nei 5 continenti. Non è che esiste tutti i giorni e altri concorrenti di livello non è che esistono tutti i giorni. Cioè ricordiamoci che nel 1964 la Caravans International, per esempio, no, faceva uscire, una roulotte ogni 4 minuti, 15 roulotte quindi in 1 ora. Erano 120 roulotte al giorno. I produttori tedeschi nello stesso momento ne tiravan fuori 5, per dire. Ma adesso, it's a very pleasure for me to introduce to you, è un vero piacere per me introdurre Andrew Jenkinson.
Hello Luca, how are you?
Ciao.
Ciao.
Thank you so much, grazie davvero. Well,
nice
you
to speak to you again.
Well, okay, do you listen me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'll just turn you up a little bit more.
Okay, great. Adesso devo dire una cosa che lui non sa ancora. I have to tell you a surprise. That is, tomorrow we take this video and translate in Italian. So you can have the surprise to listen you directly from your voice to talk in Italian. You don't know what you say, but you know what you are what you say. Gli ho detto che faremo il doppiaggio della sua voce, quindi si sentirà in italiano. Well, I told to my friends, ho detto ai miei amici, you are, just a moment, Luana, ciao Luana, welcome, ciao Luana. Allora, dicevo, I said to my friends, you are the most important, as for me, journalist and writer in Europe.
You're too kind. You're too kind.
Really? No, it's true. È vero, because you are the only one that know the history of motorhome and caravan industries. Sei l'unico che conosce la storia. And you write e scrivi libri su questo. Tell me, are you writing another book?
2.
Oh, sta scrivendo 2 libri.
2 books.
Not only one. No, okay, I know. It's for the human people can write one book every time. You too. Yes, I know. Okay, 2 libri.
I'm probably going to be well behind on them.
Well, I say goodbye. Ciao, hello to Adria Italia. That is the Italian branch of Adria Mobile. Ciao, Stefano. I'm reading your book about Caravans International.
Oh, right. Are you finding that interesting? You find it interesting?
Too much. Troppo. Too much.
I could have done double the size. I could have done double the thickness of the book if they'd allowed me to.
No, I have discovered just while we are waiting for you, I told to my friends, intanto che lo aspettavo vi stavo raccontando, about the Jensen Interceptor that was a great supercar at the time, and they used to towing caravans for a test. That's incredible. È incredibile che usavano un'auto del genere per fare i test. That's incredible. I think that today, in this time, there's no manufacturer that are using a Ferrari, an Aston Martin to make a test like that.
Yes, that Jensen was very good actually. But that Jensen were a big name in sports cars at that particular time.
Certo, the Jensen Interceptor, if I correctly remember, se ricordo bene, it was the first four-wheel drive sport car.
Right. I wouldn't know about that, but I'll take your word for that.
Yeah, well, I think so. It's not the Audi 4. It's not the Audi 4, but it was the Jensen Interceptor.
I know. I think there was I think there was Brabham. I'm not sure, or a Van Wall, and they did a four-wheel drive racing car, like a Formula One, going back in the 50s.
Ah, okay.
I don't think it did very well, but probably technology restricted what it could do, possibly. I don't know. But yes, these silly facts, aren't they? So how far have you got up to on the CI book?
Okay.
What have you got up to?
My dream is to translate your book into Italian, because il mio sogno è di tradurre il suo libro in italiano, because when you want to choose a motorhome, quando vuoi scegliere un camper, maybe you are between a roller team and a Caravans International, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you say, well, you don't know that roller team was born only 20 years ago, and the Caravans International, it was the biggest group,
biggest
in
group
our
in the world. Yeah. Made well. It was just a major global name of leisure vehicles, and they bought out Stern and also the other German make. I've just gone off. It's in the book. I've just kind of forgotten. I've got a mind blank all of a sudden. Wilk, and I mean they had a factory in virtually every country in Europe. Really did. Caravans International. Sam Alper, who I met on several occasions and stopped at his house one weekend after he'd come out of the industry, was a very interesting man to talk to. And very intelligent guy, and always wanted to do and try something. His moral was, if it fails, move on. Don't keep worrying about it. Move on to the next thing. But Caravans International grew at a phenomenal rate, and unfortunately, things didn't go down too well in the early 80s when there was a downturn, and they lost a lot of money in that particular time. As I'm going to spoil the book for you now. I'm not telling you any book because I'll spoil the book. But no, I mean it was a massive concern, and they built specials, motorhomes, camper vans, holiday homes, static caravans, if you want to call it that, mobile homes, park homes, people lived in them, and pop tops. They just covered it all. I think it's brilliant. You know, just makes you wonder. I always think when CI went, I think the industry went backwards. That they were pushing always forwards, and the industry started to go backwards when CI went, the original company, because they did a lot of pioneering things, soulless dealerships, concentrating on parts, so you get a part for your caravan, up to 10 years plus of age. No matter if you're in Europe, in France or Germany or Italy, didn't matter, you would get your part for your CI caravan. Yeah. I mean, that was way forward thinking. No, I don't think, that doesn't exist really today. It'll be, 6 months' time. And if we can get the part. It's incredible, isn't it? But, yeah.
È vero. Allora, just a little translation for my Italian friends. Yes. Allora, ci ha detto che, intanto premessa, domani sentirete Andrew Jenkinson che parla in italiano, perché lo tradurremo. Well, tomorrow you have the complete translation what you say in Italian. But that's nice. Ma ha detto appunto che il gruppo Caravans International e Sam Alpert, che era il fondatore, è stato veramente un genio che ha fatto tantissime cose, ha rivoluzionato il settore almeno 3 volte, e producendo camper, caravan, case mobili, facendo veramente qualcosa che oggi non possiamo neanche pensare minimamente che possa esserci un gruppo che arriva a quel livello lì. Just a moment. Ciao Mirella and ciao Maurizio. Ok. If you have the opportunity to change something in this market, in our market,
Sorry, I'm not letting you finish, am I?
No.
I think we've got to look at more lightweight caravans, cheaper caravans, probably de-spec them for that person that doesn't have a big tow car. We've got that problem with electric. I don't know how it's taken off in Italy, but in the UK, it's not particularly been greeted with open arms as an electric. I know people have bought electric and they've gone back to petrol or diesel. And for towing, most of them are no good for towing electric cars. Simple as that. Because the manufacturers don't want you to tow with them, do they? They don't want you to tow with an electric car. They're not designed for it. Electric motors really aren't. So that's a big problem with the touring caravan. Sadly, it could make the touring caravan virtually extinct. We know it. If that goes ahead with electric cars and we all have to go over to electric, that is a sad thought for me. But I think here in the UK, a lot of people complain about the price for caravans, how they've gone up in price, and they have. There's no doubt about it. And also they're still having problems with them, leaks, things like that. But I think there's a market, and the manufacturers will probably tell me, no, there isn't. But I think there's a market now for a lighter caravan, less specified, for the family who want to be able to store it, maybe on their driveway at home, tow it with a smaller car, and also use a site with all facilities and basically use it during the summer. And all they want really is a cooker, a fridge, and maybe a little heater. And that's really all they need. And just cold water even. Just the basicness, and bring the price down and the weight down. A bit like St. Alpert's Day, the sprites. They're always known as lightweight touring caravans. I know things changed dramatically in the UK, especially in about the mid to late 80s, as caravanners here demanded more in their caravan. So they wanted a hot water as standard and things like that, and fly screens and blinds. So of course that puts a cost up and also adds to the weight. And we've got very used to having our front rooms on wheels, our homes on wheels. And I think there's a lot of people who don't use a lot of their specification their caravans got. I think the caravans are over specified in a lot of ways. And I think that would bring obviously the price down, and it would also bring the weight down. I think that market needs to be explored again. That's what I think.
Well,
for what it's worth.
Per sintetizzare, lui dice che lui ripartirebbe dal mercato delle caravan con delle caravan più leggere, con una proposta di caravan anche che costano meno, non necessariamente per essere tratte alle auto elettriche, perché in Gran Bretagna le auto elettriche non hanno tutto questo successo, ma even in Italy and in all the continental Europe, electric cars are not a great success. I don't know sincerely if they are the future, because here they sell peanuts, just only few pieces of electric cars.
I think you're absolutely right. I think for town driving, great. Nipping around in town, fantastic. But as an actual day-to-day transport of having to travel maybe 100 plus miles one way and 100 plus miles back the other way, I don't think that's so good. And the government here in the UK will wise up. They've already decided to now road tax electric cars. They were exempt, but now they're going to get charged the same as a normal run-of-the-mill petrol stroke diesel car. And insurance is higher for an electric car. They use tyres more. I just think, yeah, it's not like you just said. I don't think it's the future, and I think really they could produce some more efficient petrol and low emission engines, and I think that will come. Or fuels that are from some of the sources, obviously, that are more environmentally friendly.
Yeah. Ragazzi, la penso esattamente come you are thinking, like every Italian in this moment.
Right. Well, I agree with them. Definitely.
Dobbiamo trovargli un nome e un cognome italiano, perché secondo me lui ha il sangue italiano. I suppose you have an Italian blood. And why now UK manufacturers don't have a great success in Europe? Because they are selling just only two pieces. Come mai i costruttori inglesi non hanno questo grande successo adesso, in questo momento in Europa?
Now it's interesting, it's because I was reading in about 2006-07, going through my archives, which is a big operation to do, and I keep looking and I keep thinking, what I've been doing all my life, collecting all this stuff. Is there many people actually interested? But caravan sales are around 30,000 units a year in the UK. Now, people go to me and say, oh, COVID was caravan sold and this, that, and the other. And yes, they did. But we've got to look back further than that, because by the late 60s and early 70s, without going on a history lesson, caravan was booming. And we were producing around about 65,000 caravans a year in the UK. And probably 20,000 plus of those were exported. Now, in the 60s, the export market for the UK, for the manufacturers in the UK, especially in the Hull area, was phenomenal. Some manufacturers literally produced just for export, not for the whole UK market, especially in the static caravan side of things. So you had companies like Astral, who were who became a very big concern virtually overnight. So they started about 1959. By about 1965, they were actually they were selling out to Germany, Belgium, Holland, and they had a big factory here in Hull. It was owned by the Spooner Group, which was Les Marshall. Sorry, not Les Marshall, Les Spooner. And they had a big timber importing company, which, of course, they got all the timber at favourable prices. And he was a caravaner and decided to start building caravans. And that company rose to be one of the biggest manufacturers in Hull, probably the biggest manufacturer in Hull in the late 60s. In fact, a friend of mine has just been offered a 19, which I'm going to have a look at when she gets it, a barn find 1968 Astral Ranger 1400, which is a 14-foot. The door on the wrong side for UK, because Astral built so many for export, they actually sold their export models on the UK market. That's incredible. You just wouldn't do that now. But in those days, people like Astral, Minster Caravans, they would sell their export models on the UK market, and they would sell them. But she's found this caravan. She sent me pictures of it, and it's just like stepping back into 1968. It's fantastic. She said, "Have you got the brochure?" And I went, "I've got all the Astral brochures from about 1960 plus to the last in 1980. So yes, I've got that, and I'm going to get down to see her this year, and we'll do a video on that, and we'll do the history side of it. But it looks absolutely, it's been undercover for 30 plus years, and it's not been messed around. It's all original. Lovely, lovely." But we exported lots of caravans, and they still turn up. I get people coming on to me from places like mainly like Holland. I've had some people from New Zealand, the States with Sprites, New Zealand with Sprites. Sprite was such a name on the market, in Europe especially. But I mean, even though in America it wasn't as successful, and that was down to basically Sam Alper admitted that they didn't get the marketing right, and they made a few mistakes, and it cost them dearly. And they withdrew from the States in about 1973 and let another company make Sprites under license. And they did export back to America in about 1984 for a very short while. Did the new CI group with Sprites, but again, it was just limited, really. But we exported thousands of caravans. They would literally charter a ship. Just a company like Astral would charter a ship just to fill it up with caravans to take them off out. Incredible. I'd have loved to have been down at the docks when those caravans were going out. Holland, Germany, on the windows. Another Astral.
Do you remember Rhodesia? Perché era Rhodesia? Perché in Rhodesia Caravans International ha costruito Caravans International has a place in Rhodesia to build caravans.
They did. Yes, they did.
That's incredible. Because that's incredible. It's.
I know. It's
pazzesco.
But that was Sam Alper's way. There was no limits as far as Sam could see where he could sell caravans, and he could get the Sprite brand out to wherever. Sam. I did have all these diaries, and where he was going from about the 1950s until about the early 70s, and he was all over the world. But I had these diaries, and I thought it was only and he gave me them, which I was a little bit surprised at, actually. But I had them in a box, and I thought, I think these should really go back to his wife, and I've always kept in contact with. And I contacted her, said, "Look, I've got Sam's diaries." I said, "I think you should have them." And she said, "Oh, I wonder what happened to them." And she said, "I would love to." And I said, I will get them sent back to you straight away. And I did. And she came back to me and said, it was lovely to see. She said, I remember him going on all those trips. She says, I thought they'd gone, those diaries, but you kept them safe for, I think I kept them safe for about 20 years. But she got them back. And I thought it was very, that's what should happen. But yes, I'm continually getting odd bits of more archive material. In that book, I mentioned Reg Dean. I don't know if you've heard that name in my books over the years. But Reg Dean was a very influential caravan designer. Yeah. And I haven't lost you ever. Can you still see me okay? There?
Yes.
Yes.
I listen to you.
Yeah.
Because I was just to take this moment. Questo è il libro.
Export sprites on the front as well, look. The 73 Alpine.
E here you can find this motorhome, questo, che è stato, it was a big part in the motorhome revolution in Europe. Questo ha avuto un senso nella rivoluzione dei camper in Europa. And I would like to say that I read your book. Io leggo I tuoi libri.
Oh, you're really kind, Luca. You're really kind. It's nice to hear feedback, good or bad. You hope it's going to be good, but and I don't really hear anything bad. So without being big-headed, but yeah, it's nice because a lot of work goes into those books. A lot more, it is hard work, and I know what I'm looking for most of the time, but it's still getting all that information, putting it all together. It's not easy. I was on UK TV last night.
Okay.
On a nostalgia program on Channel 5 TV.
Channel 5, sorry.
Yeah, and I went to London about a month ago, and they contacted me. They'd found my Caravan in the 1970s book by Amberley Publishing, and they were doing holidays in the 70s. Most of it was going abroad from the UK when those sort of holidays became very popular. But they wanted a bit on caravanning. So I spent a couple of hours in the studio for 2 minutes TV, the usual thing. And it was broadcast last night. And actually I was quite pleased how it turned out. And I had a couple of people actually contact me and said, actually you did really well. And I thought, oh, that's good, because some of them are quite critical. I have a couple of friends who go, oh, you weren't very good. You weren't very good at all. Oh, you want to be doing this, you want to do that, and look at the camera more and things like this. So that was quite good. But they showed a lot of nostalgic film that they got from the Camping and Caravan Club of people in touring caravans. But I wanted them to get the static caravan on as well, because the static caravan, of course, was a great holiday break for a lot of people in the UK. And they'd hire one out by the seaside for a week, hopefully with a bit of sun, not always guaranteed. And they spent many a happier time. Lots of people used to say, oh, we had a static caravan, it was up in Scunthorpe or wherever. And oh, it was great. When it rained, you could hear it on the roof. And when it was cold, there was condensation. But we still had a great time. Still had great memories. So the book I'm writing at the moment is the story of static caravaning 1960 to the 1970s. So we've got another nostalgic book there. So we're seeing people enjoying their static caravan, and we'll be including the towable static caravan. Yeah. So the caravan that used to be towed to a site, a bit like modern twin axle caravans being left on a site, and we get them in UK. I presume that happens obviously in Italy. And at one time, a lot of manufacturers used to make these single axle towable static caravans, and all around the UK there were little companies with a Land Rover, and you ring them up and say, I want to put a caravan up in the Lake District, blah blah blah, and they say, right, okay, that'll be £30. When do you want it doing? And we'll come and pick the caravan up and take it up. And that's what they used to do, put it on the site for you. And then after 2 years, you got fed up. You ring them up, we want to go over to the Yorkshire Dales now. Okay, right, I'll come and pick it up. And that's how people did it with the towable statics. Well, they went out of fashion in the early 80s because the big twin axle caravans came along and people could tow their own. We had the Mitsubishi Colts as well as Land Rovers and Range Rovers and all that sort of thing. The big 4x4 cars, they could take the caravan themselves. They didn't need anybody to do that for them anymore. So, and then they'd leave them as a site for maybe 6 months. So, yeah, the seasonal pitch, which is very popular in the UK. I'm rambling on. Tell me off. You must tell me off.
No. We have finished the time.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's so interesting, è così interessante listen to you, ascoltarti.
I go forever.
No, really. I'm waiting for tomorrow because I would like to listen the translation. For all the people, all the Italian people, because this is the only opportunity, questa è l'unica opportunità for Italian people, per gli italiani, to listen what happened in the history of our market. Cioè questa è l'unica opportunità che abbiamo per ascoltare la storia del settore. That's incredible. Thank you very much, Andrew.
Thank you very much, Luke, and thank you for everybody watching as well, and buying the books, and you as well for publicising them for me. I do appreciate
that. Believe me, this is your home too. Questa è anche casa tua. When you have finished your books, or quando hai finito i tuoi libri, knock the door, bussa, and come here e vieni qua to show your new books per i tuoi nuovi libri.
Wow, that would be good. That would be good. That's a lovely offer. That's very good of you, Luca.
Great.
You're a top man yourself. You're tops. Always a smile, enthusiastic. Yeah. I love it. Brilliant.
Grazie a tutti quelli che ci hanno ascoltato finora. Thank you for all the people that are listening to us. Andrew, grazie. I said in Italian, grazie veramente.
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening. Ciao.
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 Un moment. Go.
Vacanze 2000, lo specialista in camper e caravan di Monza. Da sempre dalla parte di camperisti e caravanisti, Vacanze 2000 ti permette di godere le tue vacanze in libertà con il camper o la roulotte giuste per te, sia nuove che usate. Potrai disporre di una delle migliori officine italiane e di una vasta offerta di accessori verificati e scelti accuratamente perché possano fornire le migliori prestazioni ad un costo ragionevole. Ci vediamo a Monza in Viale Lombardia 51.